Hello, and welcome to our first real stream post 24-hour live stream. We took a bit of a hiatus because, we take a little bit longer to recover these days.
We are old men.
Yeah, I'm still tired now, to be fair. We should be coming back as usual. Well, we're probably going to be making some changes to the schedule going forward, but the hobby stream will be on a Wednesday. That's going to be, that is part of the schedule, ongoing new schedule. We haven't finalised the rest yet, but there will be some changes.
Yeah, we're revising it partly to see what you guys are interested in seeing, partly to see what people have been watching most of. So we're revising it under advisement, should we say. So if there is something particularly you want to see us trying to do that we haven't yet been doing, then get involved, give us a shout on one of the socials, talk to us on our Discord server. And yeah, the other thing that we should probably mention now is that although the 24-hour stream is over, the fundraiser is still open. So you can go to the GoFundMe and still donate. And we've got some leftover prizes for the event. So any donation of, was it £5 or more, Ricky?
Yes, £5 or more.
Yep. Then if you make a donation at the GoFundMe, which we'll pop the link up for in a bit, and send us a screenshot of your donation to info@scgc.org.uk, then you'll be entered into a prize draw to win some of our remaining prizes. And there are quite a few good prizes left to be won. I want the Lego. I always want the Lego.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? I want the Lego too. There's some good games there as well. I kind of wanted to play like the Odysseus game. I don't know what it is, but...
Oh yeah, that was a Kickstarter, I think, that Sean donated us because for some reason the Kickstarter company sent it 2 copies. So he very kindly donated us one. What are you painting tonight, Ricky?
I am painting the leftovers, so I've got quite a few things that I've been painting on the channel and not on the channel that I get to a certain point and then I just go, I'll come back to it. So first off, I'm painting Deffkilla Wartrike.
Nice.
I made a good start to this the other day. So I'm only got little bits left to do on this now. So I've put the colours out ready. I've just given the 2 orcs a green wash to try and pick out the definition and their muscles and stuff like that. And then whilst that's drying, I'm going to just pick out some of the details. And then once that's done, I'm gonna get back onto trying to paint. Finish off the squig off. Nice. He looks pretty done if I take the howder off him.
Yeah, he's pretty much table ready without the howder, isn't he?
Yes.
So a bit more work to get that done. I've gone back to the Skyrim Miniatures tonight because, I did the one stream's worth of them the other night and haven't touched them since. So I figure they're lovely models and I should probably do a bit more work on them. So that's me for this evening. As you can see, I've got a wide selection of colours already littering the table, and I'll just be putting bits and bobs on here and there and trying to get these added, mostly because I'm looking forward to actually having a try of this when we can get back to in-person gaming.
So I did enjoy when we played on the stream our game, and I enjoyed the fact that I had a fully painted army on the table for like the first time ever.
Feels good, doesn't it?
So yeah, and so like that's it. I'm usually playing my speed freaks with my orcs, so this guy is usually my HQ. So that's kind of why I picked him back up after all this time to try and get this guy done.
Nice.
Is because then my speed freaks are more or less done then. I've got a pile. I'll put up a photo in our Discord later. I did take a photo of all my orcs that I've got to paint. And
that's a brave move. I would have put all of them in a box and taken them out one unit at a time and pretended the rest weren't there. Because
I wanted to see how well I wouldn't. It wasn't to take a photo of how much I had to paint. it was originally, I wanted to see how many boys I had. And like half are painted, half aren't. So that's why I pulled them all out. And it just happened, and then it just turned into, I might as well see how much I've got left to paint.
Oh God, what else do you need to paint? Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, so that is my... I think I'm going to try and get that done first before I move on to the Death Guard, especially with the Warhammer Fest announcements.
Yep, all of the auctions all of the time.
Yeah, so I do want...
Still nothing for Eldar, though. Poor Eldar.
No.
Poor Eldar.
They're going to go the way of the squat, are they?
I don't think so. I just think, yes, they'll probably be the 10th edition poster boys. Because 30 years after you've had a new model is about time to get one right.
They've never been... Have they ever been the packing?
As in... Not for the starter set, no, not to the best of my knowledge.
It's like... yeah, so maybe they will be, because... you know, Necrons were crying out for an update for a while, weren't they?
Well, I don't know. I don't think they were as bad as some people made out. It's having played them before. I think it's they could have used a bit more variety, and I think they've done well with what they've got. You know what I mean? But I don't think they were as hard done by as the amount of releases they've got recently would suggest they were.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, Eldar look a bit old now as well, don't they? Compared to like some of these new kits that people have been putting out. Well, that GW have been putting out.
Yeah, it reminds me actually. I've got a second-hand Eldar force that I might be selling off, and I was meant to send Tom, not Tom who works for me, but Tom, one of our regulars, a picture of it. And I totally forgot because I've been off work today with workmen in the house. Oops, sorry,
And if we got... then if you plug in that, I'm going to turn around and say, I've got my Black Legion up on eBay at the moment. So if you want to go and check that out, I might actually put up the link.
Whack a link up there.
So the only reason I'm getting rid of is like
too much.
It never comes out of the box either.
I mean, to be fair, that's why I sold it in the first place to you, because I just wasn't getting to play enough of the armies I had.
Yeah, and that was it. Like, it was great when I got it because it meant that I could actually field a decent army against like the key runs compared to what my orcs were. But that was my gateway into more chaos as well.
Yeah.
Because the reason that we bought Dark Imperium was because, you know what? I can run them as elites in my Chaos army.
Yeah. And then you realised
your
goodness was there in the future.
Yeah, and that was it. And then it became Death Guard kind of even overtook Orcs at one point, I think, for how much I was painting and playing and with them. It was just because I think I got everything so quick with them, whereas Orcs was slow build, which is why I bought the Black Legion off you.
Yeah.
As I was slowly building it up, and also a lot of models, not that many points with the Orcs. And then the Death Guard, it was like I bought the Dark Imperium box. Then someone sold me their half of a Dark Imperium box. And it quickly mounts up then.
Yes, suddenly you had all of the things. I've just realised I've made a bit of a silly mistake. I put two nearly identical browns next to each other on the palette. and I almost guarantee that I'm going to end up making a big mistake somewhere along the line this evening. And so if you hear me curse later on, that's why. Moral of the story, separate your colours on the palette.
So I was going to put more of my colours out, but I could clearly see at the moment that that's pink, that's the Avalon Sunset, so that's like a yellow, and then that's the brighter yellow, the Flash gets yellow to build up to that bright yellow, and then I've got Mournfang Brown that looks red to me.
So let's play a game of which colour is which. Actually, it looks far clearer on the camera than it does in person.
So it looks like. Have you got gold on there as well?
Yeah, I've got a weapon bronze, which is actually more gold, but yeah.
And then the other two look the same.
Yeah, they are fairly similar. Right.
But if you'd asked me before telling me that they were browns, I probably would have guessed green.
I can see Becky in the chat giving us a. I'm not sure what that emoji. Why can't they just have normal emojis on Twitch? My brain has not got enough space to learn new emojis. But a Bob Ross looking emoji.
It is probably Bob Ross then.
I don't think it is. I don't know. But probably. Let's take it as a thumbs up. Oh yeah, no, it is Bob Ross though. Oh, my brain. Cool. So yeah, get some fur on these guys. Part of me thinks I should probably paint the underside. We have independent curing confirmation. It's definitely Bob Ross. Should have trusted my gut and not second guessed myself and looked foolish. Yeah,
I got 6 watches on my Chaos Army at the moment.
Oh, nice. So chances are it'll sell. What have you got it up for?
I put it up as a starting bid of 180.
Oh, cool. I'm not tempted to just go for a fixed price and get on. You want to see if people accidentally overbid for it and get a...
Kind of. So like, I wanted to be honest, I just wanted to I wanted to sell it on like Facebook or something.
Yeah, ideally sell it locally. But,
so that I didn't have to post it. So I have put it up on Facebook as well. I put it up for like, I want about $250 for it.
Yeah.
So like I put it up for 3 and let the person think that they were getting a bargain. So I'm hoping that they've got 6 watches on this at the moment. I'm hoping they bump it up to about $250.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chunk of stuff there, especially if you're throwing in the case as well.
Yeah, so it'll be 2 cases. There'll be the plastic Citadel case and a KR case as well. So there's quite a bit. I've put up the link now. We've also got a spam bot in there as well. And I'm going to check up the Discord so you can...
Cool. I'll, kill the spam bot. No,
so that if you want to...
I can't do it. Yes, again, there we are. Bye, spam bot.
Okay, so let's see if this works. There we go. And there's a link to our Discord as well. So you can come and interact. And
show us pictures of what you're painting.
Yeah, tell us what you're reading and all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, so I just...
Oh, Becky was trying to get rid of the spam bot for us, but Twitch not behaving itself. By the sound of it. Double.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed the 24-hour stream. If you joined us, our stuff is going up currently onto YouTube on our YouTube channel.
I think I put our 40k game on today, and a couple of the first comics panel and some other bits and bobs.
And some went up yesterday as well, didn't it? The only problem I've got with all of the stuff so far is that I look huge.
It's just the camera angle, man. Just the camera angle.
I look absolutely huge.
It's either that or back to the gym after lockdown.
I think I need to go on to the gym, on a diet, liposuction, and gastric bypass.
No. It's all good. But I've missed the bottom somehow. Time for another colour.
Did you watch much of Warhammer Fest?
I didn't, no. So, what with me being chock full of cold and stuff, I've basically gone to work, come home, slept, with brief respites in between for dadding. So no, I've had it secondhand through sort of the news feeds and things like that, but I've not really massively followed it, if you know what I mean. Which is silly, really. But I mean, the sister stuff looks lovely, but I question the wisdom of sticking out another codex so soon, and ditto another edition of Age of Sigmar. My own personal bugbear with Games Workshop is like, make a game that doesn't need multiple editions. You don't need to build the redundancy, and you can just keep making lovely models, campaign books.
I know they can move the story on without having a new edition.
I mean, even if they did their points upgradey sort of chapter approved book each year for their quick fix of you must buy a new thing to keep up with the game. But yeah, I don't know.
And or something like, so instead of doing the chapter approved, just so that you can milk it a bit more, we understand it is a business and you can milk it a bit more by doing something like, well, they've got Mortal Realms going at the moment. They had Psychic Awakening in 40k.
Yeah.
Stuff like that would...
Yeah, campaign arcs. And I think the problem is there's only so much content that you can do with it, especially with a game that's been running as long as that. They've got rules for sort of city fighting, they've got rules for aircraft, they've got rules for this, that, and the other. So there's not much new you can jam into the game. So the only real way of generating other than story, sort of other than is, and not everyone wants to buy the story books, as it were. So the only way to generate new or sort of increase sales is to change the rules and then re-release all the supplements updated for the rules again, which is a shame. But you sort of understand why they do it. But it does, as a shopkeeper with a shop full of Age of Sigmar battle tomes, I'm like, well, that's going to be a pain in the bum. And it's not the fourth or fifth time that sort of thing has happened, where we've been sort of caught holding old edition stock because we didn't know a new edition was coming.
I know.
I mean, to be fair to them, they do give some option to get credit on some of the stuff that comes back, or sort of goes out of thing, but it's never quite as much because it's usually on what sort of they consider their core range and the stuff that you have to hold if you want an account with them. But yeah, as a sort of retailer wanting to serve the needs of your customer, you tend to hold more than just the core range, and therefore get caught with stuff when they change the edition. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, I do feel you. It was like with 9th edition, that, you know, I even said it to you as I was buying the book that, you know what, I don't know if I should pick up War of the Spider, because it was one of the last Psychic Awakenings out, and I convinced myself that Death Guard were going to be like one of the later codexes.
Yeah.
So I might get some use out of it, and then they were one of the first codexes, and it was like I got nothing. So like I just tried. I did sold all my 8th edition books before they crashed. So like even my orcs, which haven't got a new codex yet, but they will.
Yeah.
Soon.
Hopefully.
Well, with the new releases that they preview, and
they're pretty much
I can see it happening. Yeah, so, but it was that thing of, we had the conversation that, you know what, I don't know if I should buy this.
Yeah.
And then, what was it, the Saga of the Beast as well, even though that came out right at the start of lockdown, I never used it. Me and Kieran, luckily it was the right one for us. The right pairing, but yeah, we never got to use it, and we just put it, we sold it when I sold all the other books, just because like we wouldn't have played using it, especially like Space Marine, what the Wolves were rolled into like the Space Marine book, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with things like that, you could still use the campaign options for it, but yeah, it's still not. Excuse me, it's still not ideal.
No, so like, yeah, I get it. I know I don't begrudge them too much. A bit, but not too much.
I've said it before, and so this is like a repeat rant for anyone who's heard it previously. But I wish they'd just release an edition with all of the rules, like all the codices, at the point they drop the edition, even if they've got sort of models held in reserve, because it would give you the confidence that they'd sort of balanced it, and there wasn't going to be codex creep or sort of bandwagon
And that's it. I think we've seen this time, there is a definite creep, because when they came out, the Death Guard were I know there's not a lot of tournaments going on, but the Death Guard were the meta army when it dropped. And then Dark Angels dropped, and they became the meta army because they were unbeatable. And now Dark Eldar, or Drukhari, or whatever they call these days, drops, and they are the ones. It's
unfortunately that that's been the pattern for a long time, and it's a thing that works them, because there are people with deep enough pockets to believe that they need the army du jour. But yeah, for sort of mere mortals who just collect one or two armies and would quite like their army to be consistent, it's you sort of get stuck with now my army is the army with its moment in the sun, and everyone hates me for it, versus now it's the sad times when I wait for 3 years before I can do anything again.
Yeah, so with my play group, we've got people who this is their first, it's their first edition change. He might actually be watching now, Kieran Jenkins. He's been playing, he bought the Grey Knights off you.
Yeah.
And they weren't exactly the best in 8th edition.
Yeah.
But then Psychic Awakening made them a bit better. We don't play really meta-y stuff, but it's that thing of everyone in our play group has basically got the codexes already, apart from my orcs and what was my chaos. But he's got Space Marines, who are supposed to be like Super Space Marines, who can't do anything at the moment because they still one wound, even though they've told us that everything's getting that extra wound. Well,
Yeah.
all the Space Marines are getting the extra wound, so why didn't they just FAQ that?
Yeah, it's they could look after their players, and that again, that sort of codices at the start of a edition with then release schedule mapped out for sort of stuff coming for people each time would definitely solve a lot of the issues. But I think part of the problem for them is they've got to release it as a chunk because of the whole sort of chapter house court case where they basically lost the case on not, if they hadn't produced models on things for a thing, then other people could build the model, could produce models for rules they'd written. So I sort of get why they default to that method, but oh man, it would be so much nicer if it just came out as a coherent release and then they brought out loads of lovely models for the next few years.
Like, like this is like one of my first times dealing with addition change. Like I said, like when I played as a kid, I didn't really play either long enough or like enough in general to even realize when they changed from like second to third.
And that is the other thing. I mean, from sort of in their defense, there's nothing stopping a group of players going, do you know what? We're going to stick with pick an edition. And we're just going to carry on playing that edition because that's the way we like it. And I know when Age of Sigmar dropped, there was a lot of people who liked Warhammer Fantasy rule set better for reasons of their own. And people stuck with sort of their own take on Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition for a long, long while. And then you just have to, as a group, house rule new units that come out or sort of backwards convert them. So there's nothing forcing us to buy the new rules, but we all buy onto the hype train of it's the new shiny thing. We need the rules to be entirely thing with it, and it makes it a lot easier when you're playing people who aren't your regular play group. But
yeah, and that's it, isn't it? And like, but like, yeah, I don't mind. Like, I'm not ever gonna be a competitive 40k player. I don't think I enjoy it on that level.
Too much fun to be had for that.
Yeah, I just want to run stupid lists. Like we've told you about like mine and Kieran's lists that we've written ready to do all the grots versus all the wolves.
Yep.
So like his list of Fenrisian wolves, my list of grots. Oh, and now there's a HQ that looks as if he's going to be a grot. Well, there's a new model that's a grot herd who looks to be a new HQ. So in the new stuff that they're releasing, so that's better again because it's a more grot-centric character
than even previously
than what I had previously. So yeah, I guess you could put me down for the orc stuff when it comes.
Do you know what? I really wish they would tell us with more advance when it's coming, or change their trade T's and C's, because they're quite prescriptive about when we're meant to be taking pre-orders and when we can tell customers things like prices. I mean, rightly so, because it's their stuff, but I have this sort of conversation with every account handler I've ever had from GW. If you didn't prohibit me from taking pre-orders for thing X, I would probably place bigger orders with you, because I would be able to talk to my customers and find out how many of them wanted thing X. Whereas as it stands at the moment, we find out the actual details about when a thing will be released the Saturday before it's released. and the Saturday before it goes up for pre-orders. We're not officially allowed to take pre-orders before then, and then we've basically had to place our order for the items already and guess what we think we're going to want. And if we're lucky, which we haven't been recently, we're then able to update our numbers the Monday after the pre-order window. It's just like, oh man, that is not a good way to do business. Whereas if they give like a month lead time of, here's the thing coming up in a month's time, you've got to finalise your numbers by 3 weeks' time, go. Oh my God, I would tease you guys so hard for what was coming and have a big long list of what I was going to be taking orders for. Madness.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? Like, sometimes I think that would help from a punter side as well, like sometimes you find out like 2 weeks before or whatever, oh, this is coming, and then you don't actually see anything. Well, it might be in the middle of the month, and if you'd known, you would have kept your budget back for that. And instead you might miss out on something. It's one of those weird ones.
We love the FOMO.
Yeah.
I need to darken this shield down because that gold wall or bronze gold wall lovely is way darker than the banded iron I was hoping for. And I'm trying to remember how I did the lead belcher ones last time. So,
God damn it. I just put the Avalon Sunset into the flash kits, even though they're miles different on the...
Oh dear.
It's fine. It's fine. Only a little bit. You can't even see it on the camera.
That's the thing. It always looks worse when you're looking at it yourself.
Seems to be a bit too much of it on my brush. So I tried to take off some of the excess.
That's more like it.
So now that you have seen it secondhand, at least, is there anything you're looking forward to for yourself, or just...
No. So I mean, part of me did sort of regret having sold Sisters when I saw the Shiny New Sisters things, but I didn't cave when Plastic Sisters came out, and that was probably going to be my time to do so if I was going to think about getting more Sisters. Now I think I'm going to focus on getting my my guard all done because, like you, I've got a bunch of unpainted or part painted things for my squat guard types, so including far too many regular infantry who I really don't like painting.
I don't like it either, but I have actually, like I said to you, I've been enjoying it lately.
It's because the models are so old and blocky, and both with the regular guys, and I've also got who've been sat on my painting table for far too long, the Mantic Forge Fathers, who are going to double as my shock troopers, and the sculpts on those are foul as well. So, unless I get round to doing Caradron overrods, but no, part of me was tempted to dabble with Fire Slayers because I do like me a dwarf, and I was thinking about doing something with those, but I've always found when they were just Troll Slayers as part of a dwarf army, they seemed still a bit crazy and overblown and a bit 80s with their mohawks. And I did a nice conversion for one of my friends over in the US, ex-role-playing buddy who's moved over that way. And I used one of the Fire Slayers model to make a dwarf monk. Sort of took all the mohawks and things off, but and sort of made him a set of nunchucks out of green stuff and bits. So I'm thinking sort of a more dwarf warrior priest's take on the Fire Slayers might be a project I go down the rabbit hole of at some point, but not anytime soon, I don't think. Right.
No, it's like, I think when things are open up a bit, I am tempted to play a bit, try Age of Sigmar. We were on the verge of doing it before everything locked down, hence why I start collecting Nurgle bits. And so like, and I like the look of the Caradon Overlords myself. I just like the aesthetic that they've gone for with that.
Yeah, they are nicely steampunk.
But yeah, it's now. I'll wait for the next edition. Because like the thing is, the other problem I always get is, well, it's not a problem. It's just that I always get tempted by the orcs because I just like orcs.
Yeah, it's tricky to go in for something else at that point, then, isn't it? You're like, well, I'm already this deep in orcs.
Yeah, and like you were saying, you with the dwarves.
Yeah, I mean the dwarf thing is it goes back to when I was playing D&D as a kid, actually, because for some reason I always used to end up playing a dwarf cleric in AD&D Second Edition, which was what some of the lads at school. And where's my other grey gone? And yeah, I don't particularly know why it ended up being that way or what particularly about dwarfs it was at the time. But yeah, from I guess probably reading the Hobbit as a kid. But yeah, so sort of dwarf went to be my go-to character for a while. No, I don't like that. Different grey, something darker.
Like I've said before, like when I started, the reason that like I've never picked my own army really. I mentioned this to some of my friends the other day when I said I was selling the Chaos is all of my armies I've never actually picked.
Yeah, circumstances dictated, or
so the first time I got into I didn't even get into it. I had friends in school who were into Warhammer, and they went, "Do you want to play?" Oh look, I happen to have, and it was the second edition starter set.
Yeah.
So I bought the orcs off my friend for really cheap. So like whatever it was, 40 orcs and whatever, like all the orcs, all the Gretchen,
yeah,
and all of those bits I bought off a friend. So like that was why I picked orcs. And then when I came back to the hobby, it was because I told Kieran that when I was a kid, I had the Orc War Buggy because he was interested in 40k, and I was saying like I did used to like it. And I told him about the buggies that I had, so he thought it'd be a good idea to get me a buggy when the new buggies came out for Christmas, I think it was.
Yeah.
So he got me the Boomdacker Snazwagon, and that ended up with me getting back into the hobby. I started buying orcs, but couldn't grow the army quick enough to actually have games with people.
Yeah.
So I bought your Chaos. So again, didn't pick my army. And then
maybe
the death.
You'll have to do that for a completely different system. Just go right.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking for Age of Sigmar. Basically, is that if we get into it, I'll play Nurgle at first because I've got Nurgle. for like my Death Guard and part of my 40k stuff. I've got Nurgly bits. So I'll stick with them at first, but if we get into it, I'm going to pick my own army for the first time ever.
You'll have to go goodies for a change.
I am goodies. I'm orcs. Orcs are goodies. They're not trying to like bring about the end of the universe. They're not galaxy-spanning space racist knights. They just want to fight.
There is that.
That's it. I was going to go something in order. So I even joked with Kieran that I'd go Sigmarines.
Okay.
So that
I mean,
but that was just...
Some of those models are actually quite nice, though.
Oh yeah, the models look great. But the joke was I'd have the army that's actually supported by GW.
Yes.
For a change.
Yeah.
So like that was the whole reason for Sigmarines. But I think if like just off aesthetics only, it'd be Caradon.
Yeah.
I really like the look of the steampunk dwarves.
It's a reason to do it. But yeah, you need to get a few games in under your belt first and decide that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stick with my Nurgly bits for now.
Yeah, it makes sense because demons work just as well both ways, and you've got enough bits and bobs to put a credible force together.
Yeah, so we were on about doing like an escalation league, like we were doing with 40k, which really made the game 40k come alive for me. Because when we were just chucking everything on the table, and it was taking us like 6 hours to play a game, because it was like we were putting like too many points on, and we were having to read every rule, every roll, starting at 500 points, getting a couple of like few games in at that level before then moving up to like 750 points. That really helped me get to grips with the game.
Definitely something to be said for smaller games as well as a way of keeping it fun.
It's like, yeah, that game that we had on the 24-hour stream went just over an hour. I know we sped up massively at the end, but 500-point game, you're not there for the like 4 or 5 hours that you could be there if you're playing a 2,000-point game or bigger.
Yeah, I mean, that said, a longer game can go quicker once you're really sound on the rules. I know my mate Neil and I used to clear 2,000 points of 6th edition in 2 hours regularly, but then we were playing literally at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, when we both lived in Portsmouth. And both had our own places, so we could just easily set up a game and rock up. But yeah, that was because we were playing not necessarily the same army each time, but the things that we knew really well and rules that we'd been playing for a goodly while.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But it is something I would recommend. Like having made the mistake of, I want to play with it all.
Yeah. Start small, work up, and then you're not sort of finishing each game at turn 2 because that's when you have to pack up because you've run out of time.
Yeah. And like when we were playing like 2,000-point 3-way games between me, Kieran, and Kieran, that was just too much.
Oh, multiplayer 40k never works unless you change bits of the rules. It's
yeah. Well, we were doing that thing that you told us to do, which was alternate turns.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you are just stood there for like hours whilst you wait for 2 people to finish their turn.
Yeah. I mean, the other way that's quite nice that is a bit more of a deviation from the rule is you just have one turn between everyone and you go almost bolt action with unit activation. So you have one movement phase and everyone else is activating units in that same movement phase, then one shooting phase. And yeah, no, it can work quite nicely for a multiplayer game, but everyone's got to sort of get used to the idea that it's going to be a bit weird. But again, multiplayer games work better, smaller points initially as well.
Yeah, 3 of you who don't know how to play the game playing 2,000 points. It just lasts forever. I think we got to like turn 2 on like 3 games. And you always end up with 2v1.
Yeah.
Because someone will start to dominate and the other 2 people will
turn on them
and then it's like, oh, why are you picking on me all the time?
There's I was rereading ahead of our game on the stream, rereading bits of the old Rogue Trader rules, and back in the day, the assumption was that you play 2 players plus a GM, quite often, and so I remember games back in sort of school days where we'd have literally that. So you'd have 2 forces, and then you'd have a GM with an overview map, and he knew where things like traps and random stuff and alien encounters and sort of gene stealers popping out of the woodwork because you were fighting on a gene stealer infested planet. And that makes it quite an interesting game when you've got sort of like third party stuff happening and someone, especially someone who knows the rules, keeping things moving a bit. But yeah, kill team as well. That's another good way of keeping it all fresh and moving. But no, I think the funnest multiplayer, funnest, that's not a word, sorry, go back to school. The best best multiplayer thing I've played in a long time was a multiplayer campaign where generally you were fighting one-on-one battles, but could accidentally end up in more than that. And it was played with a fog of war system in campaign mode as well, so you didn't even know what size army you might be going up against. So you were moving around your army in sort of chunks of 500 points, and you had like 500 point, 1,000 point, 1,500 point, 2,000 point list. And if you ran a smaller army into a larger army, or the larger army caught you, then yeah, you might end up fighting an off balance battle, but still have to try and score certain victory conditions before you could escape or before you could do a thing. So I remember
run away.
I remember one game sort of bunkered into a corner with Tau with significantly less points than the opponent charging at me, and sort of putting up a really credible defense, sort of because I had a good sort of fire position and things like that. So yeah, no, it was fun. Right, I need Viking hair color. Do we go demonic yellow and go properly crazy blonde? Let's see how terrible that looks.
I was going to say you should go ginger.
Yeah, I've got like lava orange. Or lava orange would appear as a.
Really bright blonde works as well.
Well, I've got two stormcloaks with no helms on, so yeah, I think we'll do the archer blonde. Oh, that's going to be too blonde though. It's like He-Man blonde.
Oh, this yellow is a nightmare.
Yellow is always a nightmare.
But it's like it's too runny.
So Evelyn Sunset you're using, or?
Well, I did. That one wasn't too bad. Now I'm on the Flash Gets Yellow, which is
Oh, actually, he's a.
Oh, looks alright.
less bad than I thought when I first put it on. Darken that up with a wash to pull the hair strands back out again. I think it'll be all right. I'm almost tempted to do his mate in that colour. Oh, we've got Casandora yellow as well. That could be nice. I've just realised I started using the demonic yellow, and I've got a pot of contrast Yandan yellow here. What am I doing? Right, let's do his mate in that and see how that comes out.
Okay, so having the pink, I think, really helped. But still don't like the yellow. I gotta go and do a load of cleanup afterwards.
Ooh. No, not convinced by the contrast on that. Leave that dry and do something else about it. More black required. It's surprising how fast the painting time goes when you're painting and chatting as well. It's quite nice.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
It's like 10 to 9 already. I said we were only going to do a short one this evening because I'm coughing like a good one and probably should be taking to my bed like a sickly child. Doubly so because I'm getting up with the kids in the morning because my wife's got the same cough and we're both dying on our butts at the moment. So, yay, exciting times.
I'm not making the progress I wanted to on this, so at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just because I've had to put like I don't know if it's just because of the undercoat, but the colours don't seem to go on to they pull back as if they're wash.
That's a thing I've seen quite a few times with just the yellows. Yeah, sometimes it's just an unfortunate fact of yellow.
Oh, it was the brown that was doing it. So I've put down some raw calf flesh straight on the silver. So like I undercoated it in lead belcher.
Yeah. Yeah, the lead belcher undercoat can make it quite slippy for the paint to adhere to.
Yeah, so it was pulling back. So I put down some raw calf flesh onto bits that I wanted to paint brown now.
Yeah.
To try and make up for it. So it just meant that I had to paint a whole different colour before painting the one I actually wanted to paint.
Oh no, I hate straps from webbing. Get on there. It's always clean up.
I don't mind painting. No one when you're at that stage where you can just use a big brush and go. It's just when you've got to get into those gaps, that's when I start to not enjoy it. And picking out details like straps.
Yeah. Straps are the worst. I don't know why. It's just always seems to be the bit I go wrong on. And there's always more going over the edges or not quite hitting the bit you want. I'll come back to that and tidy that one up in a bit. Let's get straps on. Yeah. I'm most of the way through the Stormflex, so they're starting to take shape.
So I don't know how much of that you can see, but
looking good. Do we want to put Mr. the third camera on, or?
Yeah, I can do. Okay, so let's show what I mean about. Okay, so Discord.
Excuse the echoey audio audience, because we've still yet quite to get the third camera working without a random echo, but it does give a much nicer close-up.
Just gonna.
So, anyone painting along with us in the stream, or are you just watching our beautiful efforts? Oh, off the back of that, I thought Miles did a really good tutorial on the 24-hour stream, and the finished product was lovely.
Okay, I might just disappear for a second because I can't seem to log back in as the SCGC at the moment. So bear with me.
No problem. And then there was one. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so don't point to my face. There we go. Alright, so
yeah, that's
there
much
we
clearer
go.
now. Looking lovely.
So I got to clean up all around that yellow because it just kind of run off it. So, but
it's looking really good. Fair play there.
I can show you what I mean about. So I put Rakarth flesh on that guy, and now I'm putting the brown on top.
Nice. Yeah.
Because I didn't want them both to have black leather jackets.
They're not a fashion conscious motorcycle club.
Have to sort out that. There we go. And I'm back.
He's back once again, like a renegade master. Something. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, you were going to say we have to sort out.
That back onto that third camera. So
we'll get it ready for next week. It's all good.
Yeah, get everything set back up. So I logged back into my personal Discord because it is my phone.
I was actually quite surprised when we did the 24-hour stream that I didn't get any interference because my Discord is the same Discord I use for work, and while we were doing the 24-hour stream, we had a Yu-Gi-Oh event running on Discord through the shop's Discord. So I was half dreading sort of one of the players PMing me or something, forgetting that it wasn't me on, and that popping up in the middle of the stream. But luckily, Jack and Titch managed them enough that no one felt the need. It was did occur to me at the start. I was like, oh, maybe I should have found a way of disabling that.
Leave your own group, like.
Yeah. I quit. Bye. Right.
I like being able to come back into the shop now, though. It's dangerous.
Yeah, yes. But no, it's much nicer being able to have people in to browse. It's been a much needed thing for the shop. So long may that continue. And yeah, as soon as they give the go ahead for social distancing to go away, when the levels are right and all, then we can think about getting the game rooms back open. Although at the moment I'm waiting on quotes from contractors because we're going to have the customer toilets refurbed while we haven't got people in there, because frankly the people that originally put them in for us were monkeys, and our landlord doing things on the cheap, and we should have done it years ago, but when you're running a business, you've got to pay the bills
Have
and
the
not
facilities.
spend on other things. Yeah, and facilities that work and aren't on fire or leaking tend to get left to last. So, but no, it's been a sort of a fairly steady return to business now. So we're thinking sort of it's on the list of things that need doing. And Butt's really got his shoulder there. Yeah, thinking it's something that we should get done. Plus, with the not having been used for a year, we've had a bit of a mold has crept in onto the paintwork, so we were going to have to repaint it anyway. So, yeah, let's get it.
If you're familiar with the shop as well, there's a surprise for you all on the first floor.
In fact, some people will have already seen that. There's a slight bit of remodeling and extra ventilation going on, should we say? But yeah, the people who came in over November will have seen that. In fact, some of them saw me do it because I was doing it in the middle of an event.
You were doing it while telling people, "Hey, 2 meters."
Yep, because what's the better time to wield power tools than in the middle of a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament? Made perfect sense to me. Yeah, no, it was really boring being the social distancing police. So, I at least had the advantage that I could get on with other stuff. My poor staff just had to sit there and glower at people and make sure they were not having as much fun as they should. Which, I mean, obvious safety reasons, and also not getting shut down by vigilant rangers. But still, didn't feel like fun.
So is I don't know, like I know it's not as if you own it or anything, but you've got a business near it. So is Copper gone because of breaking it?
No, they I think they had a enforced shutdown order at the time and they had to comply with other stuff. But no, Lee is still up and doing what he does, and I guess will be reopening at the time when he can. But at the time, they sort of just took him out of the loop for a while, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, because like I just went past it earlier when I was picking Kieran up, and it was like, you know, all the other pubs around it are now open, and the shutters are still down, and it's like, oh, I wonder if that getting shut down at that point has meant that gone.
I think what it was partly he hasn't got as much options for where he can go on the pavement there, because the sort of undercover bit is a bit closed in, so I would imagine he'd probably find it quite difficult to distance people properly there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's probably factored into it. But I know because he does a bunch of charity and volunteer stuff as well. So he's been delivering pizzas to NHS workers through donation subscription type stuff as well over the time. So he's been making use of copper facilities to fight the good fight and do good things.
Well, it was just that thing of like, no, because we used to go there for meetings and stuff, and it was like, I always liked going in there. It was a nice little vibe going on there. So it would have been a shame if it had gone.
Yeah, no, I think they'll be back when the time is right. I think he's just a
bit more cautious now, is it?
I still follow him on Facebook, and he was posting something the other day about sort of having a new dog to be in there as well. So there might be doggos in the next time we go as well. Nice. Hey, you haven't got any black straps, so that's good. In which case, let's just mix a bit of you up and see what we do with that. No, too dark.
Because I was in Retro Stash yesterday.
Oh, cool. How are they doing?
Well, he said that they go into a con in July at the moment.
Oh, cool.
So he said he'd let us know how it goes. Because I said, like, even if, like, the government is saying, yep, it's good to go, are the public gonna be seeing it the same way?
Yeah.
And he said, he had the same reservations, but he's going to give it a go, he said. And he'll let us know how it goes. Because, like, yeah, it's obviously something we've got to consider going forward. But without giving too much away, we are busy. Like, even though we went a bit quiet after the stream, we've actually been quite busy behind trying to work out stuff for next year. So
did you watch
as soon as we know anything, we can talk about it. But for the moment, just know that we are looking into how we can go forward. But yeah, I bought figures down there.
What did you get?
3 Hasbro WWF figures from the early 90s.
Nice.
Because we spoke about them on the podcast.
Yeah.
And me being me, we spoke about like toys from our youth. And I still had them in a cupboard in my mother's. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to dig them out and put them on display.
And get some more.
And then me being me, it was, you know what, I should really try and finish this collection.
How many more do you need now?
Oh, there's plenty that I'm missing. I'm missing some of the ones I had as a child.
Go and shake
as well. I lost some to one of the dogs. So like, yeah, I had a Westie and he ate a few of them. So it's replacing some of my childhood ones, and then it's getting some of the ones like we didn't have loads of money when I was a kid, so they were like I had like them for birthday presents and Christmas presents and like money from Penny for the Guy I'd spend on them and stuff like that. So even though I got quite a few of them, I didn't have them all, never had them all. So like it's just one of those things, being a collector.
I sort of wish I'd kept my old Transformers. But unfortunately, I know I said to my parents to get rid of those back in the day. And now my kids would love it.
Well, that's the worst part of it, isn't it? Like you say, you told them to get rid of your Transformers. I had the Ring, and it was only a few years ago that we came across it when we were sorting something out in the shed.
Yeah. Like,
the ropes were rotten, but the ring itself and the posts were nothing wrong with it. I could have just bought new coloured elastic.
Yeah.
And repaired it, but at the time I went, you know what, it's fine, throw it out. And I really want to buy a new ring now.
And no doubt they're like £1 million. Oh, actually, there's a thought though. Oh no, probably the wrong scale. Rumble Slam, which is a wrestling game by TT Combat. Might be worth a look.
Well, it's not. It's because it's the ring that I had, rather than just because I want a ring.
I see. Yeah.
And like that's it as well. Is that I'm not. So like they had a figure in when they posted them. I knew that they posted them. I knew they had them because they posted them on Facebook on the weekend.
Yeah.
And like they had one that I've already got and trying to message me about it. And I said that I've got it, but the dog's chewed it. And he was like, oh, well, why didn't you get that one as well, just for your collection? So like you've got your childhood one and a collector's one, and it's like I'm not looking to go back into it. Well, I'm not looking to go into that much in that. I'm not going to replace my childhood ones, which are played with.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking for like mint condition.
Yeah, you're just looking to finish the set, or
yeah, and then we might think about condition after that. So it's just like I might pick up a ring off eBay at some point. They go for about anywhere from 50 upwards. It depends on condition, and like it came with like some accessories that you can't get with it anymore. The same can be said about my Ghostbusters firehouse.
Nice.
And that was thrown out about the same time as the wrestling ring.
Oh, no,
and it's both of them.
The one I begrudged my parents, not seriously begrudged, but was they got rid of our Action Man at Car Boot, but our Action Man collection was actually previously my uncle's Action Man collection as well. So we had all sort of 60s, 70s vintage, sort of 70s rather than 60s, 70s, but 70s vintage Action Men stuff like the Jeeps and the 8-ton truck and sort of all crazy stuff that was just completely gone by the time they were releasing sort of fancy things when we were kids. And yeah, so there's a lot of that and handmade clothes and things for it. And yeah, that went at car boot sale just before it got really valuable.
Isn't it nuts as well, like when you look at the things that we played with as kids? Like, I had a load of He-Man figures. Yeah. Most were hand-me-downs from, like, my brother, or bought in jumble sales.
Yeah.
And, like, I had Castle Grayskull, and it's weird, like I got it from a boot sale, not a boot sale, jumble sale, I think, at some point when it was like next to nothing. But you see that it went for like £100 on the adverts for it back then, and you think, Jesus, £100 in 1980, whatever it was, 1983.
It's mad. Well, things like early computer games as well were crazy prices, and you're just like, yeah, seems expensive now, but comparatively, it was, I guess, as expensive, if not more expensive back then.
Yeah. And like seeing how much all of that goes for these days is like nuts. I had so many of the original Star Wars things from like boot sale, like hand-me-downs and jumble sales and stuff like that. And I remember finding like years later, like in the 2000s at some point when we were doing the garden out, I found a Gamorrean guard buried in the garden, and there was nice. Because like we played with them though, that was it. They wouldn't have been worth anything.
Yeah, and yeah, they did used to get played properly. I imagine in the day as well.
Yeah. Like my brother had the A-Team van.
Oh, nice.
And obviously you'd have to do jumps with that, wouldn't you?
And smash through barricades and yes, all of the above.
So like, yeah, that probably, and there was like actual metal toy as well, but like, you know, that today would probably have been worth a load if it was in good condition, just because I imagine a load of them were played with like that.
Yeah. We have a blockage. Right. Probably should think about wrapping up shortly, because otherwise I'm going to be here all night and not thinking so. So, do you want to go 5 more minutes and
yeah, sure. And just putting some highlights onto this guy's skin.
Right. On with some of the washes. Let's see what we can do for this Dragonborn's boots. It's liquid skill time. So I'm going to go Army Painter Strong Tone for the clothing area on this one. Try and get the Dragonborn looking a bit dark and grimy in terms of the kit. Early leather and hide rather than late game Dragonborn. I stuck my Skyrim back on the other day and just playing through some of the Solstheim sort of Dragonborn quests I hadn't quite finished off, and discovered that I'd left it having created a monster, so sort of pure two-handed fighter, just killing ancient dragons in 3 hits, and you're like, oh, maybe I overdid that slightly.
So I haven't played anything for a while. I tell a lie. I've been playing Total War.
Nice. Funnily enough, last night I was playing Seafall online with my Cardiff buddies, as I want to do on a Tuesday evening, and as we were just finishing up, and once again we got our butts kicked by my friend Damo. He's got this habit the last couple of games of finding all of the sort of secrets of the ancient tombs and hitting the objectives that give you like 4 or 5 glory in 1 hit. And he's sort of like merrily tootling along, building your strategy up, and suddenly he's sort of 2 minutes from winning the game, and you're like, how did that happen? But yeah, so having sort of finished playing with him, I was just about to turn the computer off, and Steam told me there was a sale, and I was like, oh, a sale on Steam? How unusual. Fell down the rabbit hole and went looking. But there was an interesting looking Viking game called the Banner Saga, and it was like 10 quid for 3 games plus 3 soundtracks. I was like, oh, yeah, do you know what? We'll give that a go. And it looks quite interesting. So it's like a 3D isometric tile-based combat. So I think D&D battle map almost. But then with sort of like quite a heavy narrative betwixt battles, and you sort of Vikings and giants tootling around a country where the sun has stopped for some reason. So it's midday all the time, but not just the sort of normal midwinter midday. Yeah, you sort of wandering around as a trade caravan of giants and humans doing stuff. And I've yet to find out what the stuff is because I've only been playing it for like half an hour. But yeah, that was a 10 quid well spent, I think, even if I don't play the other 2 games.
Yeah, when we were out yesterday, Kieran, because we went to CX when we were in Port Talbot, Kieran picked up Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, nice.
For my PlayStation, so he kicked me off my own bloody computer so that he can play.
Did I mention the Fable incident?
Yes, you mentioned that on the stream, was it?
Yeah. Oops. I'm still not quite forgiven for that, but off the back of that, because we're having work done in our lounge at the moment, I've had to take the other Xbox and TV down. So we're stuck on only the Playroom Xbox, and most of my games aren't installed on that one. And I don't really want to stick them on this so the kids don't accidentally work out how to get onto Witcher 3 or something. So yes, I'm stuck for Xbox games. I went, oh, did not do that. There we go.
Yeah, so he stole my computer last night so that he could. Well, it's not that he stole my computer. It's just that my PC, my Switch, my PlayStation are all set up to this space that I'm on now. So like, it just meant that I could have gone downstairs, because when him and Chris were streaming the other day, I painted down on Kieran's desk.
Yeah.
So I could have gone down there, I guess, but I just couldn't be bothered. I think I might be done with this guy. There's little bits that I haven't done. I got to put some washes on him, and I'll have to base him. But I'm kind of happy where he is.
Cool. That's probably a good time for us to do the wrap up.
So so as we said earlier, we're changing the schedule a little bit. So there's nothing actually scheduled for the rest of this week. But that doesn't mean that there won't be anything on. So going forward, the schedule will be, we got Chris and Kieran are streaming on Sundays. They stream in a co-op Total War and doing Warhammer games. Then Monday we're gonna carry on with the guest stream. Tuesday I think we're gonna be having Sam doing the Magic the Gathering stream, and then Wednesday me and Simon are gonna be doing the hobby stream. So that's going to be the schedule going forward, and then we're probably going to have bits and pieces through that from Thursday onwards. So if I feel like playing a game, I will play it, but we're not going to lock ourselves to a schedule. So that's the plan going forward. We can also squeeze in things that you guys want to see in between Thursday and Sunday, if you let us know what kinds of things you want to see on the channel. So check out our Discord, check out our Facebook, Instagram, and all of those things. But we're going to call it a night there. And so we'll see you next week.
We will.